is The Power of Pro Wrestling, a podcast by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
And welcome to our very special second day of our 5th anniversary show of the Power of Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is Robert Red.
I'm Chris Honick, and thank you so much for joining us on the PPWP. We got a lot to get to. Hey, we're bringing back one of our games that, bottom line, we haven't really finished up, but it's still pretty new in the process. It's called Blank Space.
And now write your name.
Yeah, we'll write your name inside the blank space. And, hey, you at home can play along with this game. All you have to do is, hey, listen to this podcast, write down our little questions, put in your own little blanks, and, hey, reply back. See what you think.
Yeah, you can leave them in the comment section below when the podcast gets posted and you're listening to this. So, I mean, feel free to leave them in the comments.
And also later on today, later on today, I have a Fatal 3 count that must be heard.
Yeah, it's later in this episode, so you definitely want to get it checked out and hear what he has to say. So, you want to kick us off with Blank Space?
How about we kick it off broken style?
Okay, well, I guess I broke the format on this one then.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, at least your name's not Matt Hardy. You'll better leave the.
Well, maybe I need to delete this audio then and we start over.
Nah, they'll make both of us obsolete, so we don't want that happening. Well, there's been a big-time war the last year plus concerning the whole broken gimmick. Started in Impact Wrestling 2016. Invented there. Got popped there. If, no pun intended. Got popped there. Grew and expanded. Then came the Expedition of Gold.
Expedition.
That landed them to Ring of Honor. But ROH respected Impact Wrestling's deal of, hey, don't do the broken gimmick there in Ring of Honor.
They actually threatened legal action, so.
But the respect was there regardless.
Not necessarily. That was legal action.
Then they landed into World Wrestling Entertainment, and that's when, to use words of my good friend Michael St. John, all hell broke loose.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question really remains. Does WWE need the broken gimmick just to draw a TV rating?
I'm going to say no, they don't necessarily need it. However, it would benefit WWE to have the broken gimmick. And teaser, this is actually going to be something we're going to discuss in one of our future episodes. Good Booker or Good Promoter, Bad Promoter, where we're each going to take a side and give our viewpoint on that side. WWE doesn't need it, but it was the hottest thing in wrestling last year. Matt Hardy and the Broken Hardys and stuff like that. So it would behoove WWE's business to have the broken gimmick. A lot of people, as you can see, are behind the gimmick. They mention it. When Matt Hardy's in the ring, they keep yelling, delete, 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 delete. So, I mean, a lot of people are behind the whole Broken Hardy gimmick and really want to see it in the WWE. So, you don't really want to deprive fans of that. Now, WWE doesn't necessarily need it. The Hardys were known for being Team Extreme in WWE, so they don't necessarily have to have the broken gimmick. They can fall back on the nostalgia act of the Hardys. Although I feel that would waste the Hardys' creative ability. I'm trying to find the right word here, but I think it would hinder them so much creatively just to stay at the Hardy Boys of old and Team Extreme, because as they push the boundaries and the limits with the whole Broken Hardy thing. At first, I didn't like it, but I gave it a chance, and I love it because, I mean, it's one of those things that's out there. It doesn't necessarily have to be serious, and we don't always have to take wrestling seriously. And the Broken Hardy gimmick showed that sometimes wrestling not being serious and being somewhat comical is very entertaining and must-watch TV.
WWE don't need it, and I'm going to tell you why they don't need it. because I think it's right. I think it's perfectly right. And, you know, I agree with Ed Nordum, who's the president of Anthem Wrestling Exhibitions. I agree with Ed Nordum. WWE, if they really want this so bad, if they really want to get the Hardys over the top, and I agree with everything Nordum said. WWE has the perfect opportunity to supersede the broken gimmick. They have it. They're afraid to step up and do it. WWE can do it. I've said off the air, they can use a Crush gimmick with the Hardys, and they can get over with the Crush deal.
Okay.
The Crush can supersede broken. No question about it. Because look at how the evolution of the broken gimmick came about. It started with iconic Matt Hardy. Then it grew to Matt Hardy's ego getting so big to where he's thinking, no, he's the biggest god of all, that, hey, he can own anybody that he wants, thus born Brother Nero.
Brother Nero.
But he ended up giving Brother Nero his freedom, and as a result, Brother Nero said, no, I may be free, but I don't want you to hand me my freedom. I want the power of the brokenness. So guess what? You may have your delete. I can be obsolete. And look what grew from there. It grew. All because from iconic to this. So I say, if you really want this to work, somebody's got to have a singles push and really be the larger-than-life character that can suck everybody into, and then you can have a gimmick that's better than broken. WWE creative, they can be original when they want to be, but they don't even want to try, and they should, especially with the Hardys. If they let the Hardys step in for this and say, hey, look, let's come up with something better than broken. We'll put the ball in your hands, and we'll see what you can come up with. It can be better than broken, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, there's always the potential to do something better than what you did previously. But, I mean, if the fans want broken, ultimately the fans need to decide where you go with this. Is because they are the paying customer, or as much as you can either like that or don't like it, they pay to come see the talent. They pay for the merchandise and stuff like that.
Of course they do.
So they need to be the final say. And definitely the WWE Universe wants to see it. So WWE needs to do it. Whether they come up with something better with Broken or not, that's up to the creative team. I don't have a lot of faith in the creative team sometimes, especially with the garbage they've been putting out.
Oh, please, I still don't have faith in them.
And we'll kind of discuss that in our next game after we get done with our next discussion question in Blank Space, how little faith I have in the creative team.
Well, speaking of having faith in something, WWE has kind of been frowning upon this, and the reason why this has ended up being a story is because of what happened this past Monday night.
Yeah.
This past Monday night saw two instances where two competitors, a veteran and a former Universal Champion, both ended up lacerated, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Big Show, bridging the nose, thanks to Big Cass. On the other hand, Finn Balor taking a guitar shot that, looking at that scar, that reminded me of what happened in England 2 years ago concerning now the reinstated Drew McIntyre and Loki due to the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that gash reminded me of. But WWE has always had a problem with this issue of blood, especially if it's on accident. It's not just something that's happened, because Kofi Kingston recently had this issue when he was one half of the tag team champs. Kofi Kingston had this issue happen on Monday Night Raw. But WWE has literally been putting heavy fines on guys for bleeding. So here's the question, and this is a story. No makeup here. Should WWE let up on the issue of accidental blood?
Well, most definitely, and the key word in that sentence, or the question or topic, however you want to phrase it, was accidental Oh, and
Absolutely.
since you guys can't see what we're doing, I'm using the air quotes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an accident. You can't always help what you do that causes the bleeding. Now, you could say the Elias Sampson was uncalled for, and maybe he should get in trouble for that. But, I mean, this is wrestling. This isn't ballet, as a certain Punk pointed out one time. So injuries are going to happen, and blood's going to happen. And the Big Show incident that occurred and getting blood there, and then the Finn Balor situation that you just mentioned, accidents are going to happen. When it's an accidental blood, they need to be like, let it go. I can understand if someone is personally bleeding and you don't want blood to show up on your TV because you're being more family friendly and someone does it purposefully against your wishes. Okay, I can be for or punishing that guy. But if it's an accident, it's an accident. It was out of the realm of their control, bleeding. So you have to let up on situations like that. Otherwise, you're just being overprotective.
Absolutely, because, they reminded me of the stake that John Cena received underneath his eye, courtesy of Daniel Bryan's Bushaku knee, and what was the match of the year, SummerSlam 2013. But here's the crazy thing about this whole situation. The athletes are not complaining about the accident because it's just another day in the office. But that day in the office ends up being underneath Vince McMahon's hands. WWE really, really needs to get rid of this whole issue and say, hey, look, accidents happen. And the surprising thing of all of this is, not one time since the brand split have they not aired a Do Not Try This at Home. They've only aired it only for home video releases and maybe some WWE specials. Since the brand split, they have not aired that. Mm-hmm. And normally they would. Because they will always say, hey, what you see, the action they go through is real. Please don't try this at home.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's just that like I said, I get we're in a PG environment. We are.
For WWE's sake, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, they're in a PG environment, and so I'd understand the whole with advertisers being advertiser friendly. That's a big issue on YouTube now with a lot of YouTubers,
especially with the USA Network.
So I mean, I get that you're trying to be a little more advertiser friendly and stuff like that. But when accidents happen, you just got to let it go. It's like
you got to. I'm
like
sorry.
If you have an accident with an accident in a car. I mean, accidents happen in a car. That accidents happen just because they're accidents. It's not something that's intentionally done or planned, but stuff just happens. It's life. There's no expression that says to err is human. It's in our human nature to make mistakes sometimes. So we're going to have accidents.
I've been in sports over 25 years. And one thing I've learned is, no one is safe. Those are the words that I've always been rolling with. No one is safe. Same here. But sometimes if you're McMahon and you're Triple H, you just got to let it roll. Let it go. Stop being.
Let it go. Let it go.
I mean, here's the thing. Stop being the proverbial Roger Goodell. Yeah, I made someone mad there. Stop being the proverbial Roger Goodell of Raw Wrestling Entertainment. Start just give us some leeway.
Any other heads of major sports that you're going to bash in this podcast?
Well, he's really the most incompetent one, but still, let up, let it go. Accidents happen. You can't. No, the old saying goes, you can't plan for an accident. Accidents are not planned; they just happen.
Yeah, and that will leave you with a blank space if you have an accident, right?
Absolutely, and that's what this is. But in this blank space, I encourage you to please bring your feedback right here. Leave the comments right there below. How would you feel in all this? Let's get to it. Let's not waste no time. Let's start with Monday night.
Okay. You want to read the question?
Oh, yeah. Let's start with Monday night with the whole Kurt Angle reveal. The revelation of Jason Jordan as Kurt Angle's other son is blank.
Okay. I will say it is very disheartening.
Cling.
So what I'm saying is very disheartening. And you've built up this angle with Kurt Angle Oh, Corey Graves been getting these texts.
Angle for angle.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's an angle for angle. Yeah, I know. Nice play on words there. Well, not a nice homonym, I guess.
It's all good. Go for it.
Well, I guess it's a nice homonym there. But I mean, you've been doing this whole. Corey Graves been getting texts. Kurt Angle's been getting texts, and this apparent secret is going to ruin Kurt Angle's life if it gets out. Well, last week on Raw, we revealed that next week, meaning this past Monday night, he was going to reveal his big secret. Well, he comes out and reveals his big secret. It's Jason Jordan, and he's got this illegitimate son. It's very rushed, so the timing was very bad, and just it was a letdown. And to let you know how bad of a letdown it was, I would have preferred Dixie Carter being his lover or Stephanie McMahon being his lover over that, because to me that would have been a lot more interesting than Jason Jordan. And this also is disheartening for me because it breaks up a good tag team in American Alpha, and that's seems to be what Vince is doing right now, is breaking up face tag teams. You keep breaking up your face tag teams, your heels aren't going to have anyone to fight.
And think about this. You know, you said something with the whole Corey Graves and Kurt Angle situation. Do you realize that because of the situation with those two, you've broken up 2 tag teams?
Yeah.
2. And that's what makes this whole revelation unbiblical. Cling!
Wow, nice word.
Simply for the fact that, you know, the build-up was stupid, which was like, and you know, I've sat here on every single Monday Night Raw for the last 4 weeks when they was doing this whole thing, and I was like, it's crazy that a plan comes together. I kept my mouth shut on it. And the fact that, and the reason why I kept my mouth shut on it is because the way that the whole deal happened with breaking up of 2 teams in one foul swoop in 2 in-ring segments, you broke up 2 teams. That really was disheartening. And I guess McMahon felt like because Enzo Amore and Kaz got much more of a pop than American Alpha did, especially when they hit the curtain. You know, when it came slam time, American Alpha delivered. But, you know, that's a big difference between NXT and WWE, the main roster, that is.
Yeah.
That's disheartening. Number 2.
Two.
Earlier this year, the whole right before Extreme Rules or Extreme Rules, I like to call it, you know, in England. Here's the question. Bayley's This Is Your Life segment on Raw presented by Alexa Bliss was blank.
Okay. You want to go first on this one, or you want me to take the reins?
I'll let you take the reins on this one because, you know, milk duds will be flying when I on my word.
Okay.
I'll let you start.
Well, I'm going to steal a page out of my friend Justin LeBar. It was effing atrocious.
Cling!
It was probably one of the worst segments in Monday Night Raw history. I mean, the O'Day and this rank right up there with some of the worst television and here real recently since the brand split. It started out, I guess, promising, but I mean, it just went downhill very fast. And Alexa Bliss has actually went on interviews and stuff, and she said she never felt negative or positive toward it. It's just she did something to try to have fun. But I mean, it was very boring, unentertaining. It did nothing it didn't add more heat to Alexa Bliss. It just made her look boring. It made Bayley look stupid, and so I mean, no one benefited from this. This is your life segment, so it was very stupid to do it. It is bad, so it was effing atrocious.
Well, but that's what makes this deal Generation Curses. Cling! Because This Is Your Life only works with the right people. Mankind and The Rock.
Yeah, they had good chemistry, and the dynamic between the two was so much different.
But that worked because in the era of, hey, can you top this? The segment worked a lot better with Mankind and The Rock. As if to the point, if you were to bring that back today, it still could work between those two. The fact that you're trying this little deal with Bayley and Alexa Bliss Good grief. Somebody give me. I will literally start drinking minor league stuff because like I had my earphones on the whole entire time. That segment was garbage.
Yeah.
Generational curses is how I call it.
Okay.
Next, how about let's lighten up the. Well, I guess we can stick with this a little bit. Roman Reigns main eventing another WrestleMania would be blank.
I want to say head scratching on this one.
Cling.
Now, the reason I'm going to say head scratching is he has main evented how many past WrestleManias? He just did 33, 32 beat Triple H, 31 with Lesnar. So, I mean, he's done 3 past WrestleManias. As to do a 4th, it's just head scratching, especially when he's getting the reaction that he's getting and from the fans. And so he doesn't need to main event another WrestleMania. To me, if he's going to wrestle at WrestleMania, him and John Cena would make the most sense at WrestleMania. But to me, I don't want that to be the WrestleMania main event because you can have so many bigger matches happen at WrestleMania than those two. Although that is a big marquee match. But to me, it would be very head-scratching because a lot of people are souring on Roman Reigns, and it's actually been reported WWE took a survey of people who canceled their network subscriptions, and people specifically said the reason that they canceled their network subscription was because of Roman Reigns. And I don't blame them because they're very back and forth with Roman Reigns. Because if you look back at WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, he was hated and booed. He could barely get a word out.
It was expected.
Out, and then he just basically says, "This is my yard now." Bam. And then they've tried to treat him like a babyface the rest of the time after beating one of the most beloved superstars in The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So it's very head scratching that he would main event another WrestleMania.
And how about the fact that when Ambrose and Rollins have their issues with the Miz and the Miztourage, you end up hearing Roman chants just for that.
Yeah, and I mean that could be another good WrestleMania match for him. We see a reunited Shield taking on maybe a Miztourage or something like that. That could always be another thing that they do.
Well, Roman Reigns main eventing another WrestleMania to me, it would be McMahon Samoan-ish.
Wow.
Well,
you've been using your thesaurus and dictionary.
If you really think about this, bro, Samoa Joe is the only Samoan not related to anybody of the Samoan dynasty in WWE history. He's the only one that's not related. And literally, that would be the one Samoan that I would love to have in the main event more than Roman Reigns. Even though I will have to say this, and I have to agree with Jim Ross. Roman Reigns in the main event spot with certain guys, he has worked better. He has improved with certain guys in the main event. Having them in the main event of pay-per-views a whole lot is almost similar to the whole Charlotte's pay-per-view winning streak. At some point, you're going to have to let reality crash in. Because the more you keep doing this for Roman Reigns, the more, even he may not want to admit it himself, but there will be a point in time in Roman Reigns' career where it's going to literally hurt him on the inside. Because every single person of his family is pushed. The only one that's not related to Samoa would be Samoa Joe. Next question. Oh, let's see how this one goes. Austin Aries' departure from WWE is blank.
Trying to find a good word for this one. I'm not going to be very fancy with this one. I'm just going to say sad or disappointing.
Cling.
It's very disappointing. You have Austin Aries, this very great talent. He's been in the business for years and years. He's great in the ring and stuff.
He's a 15-year veteran, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, you got this great 15-year veteran. He calls himself the greatest man to ever lived. He can get it done in the ring.
Yes,
he's very charismatic. So, I mean, it's just it's sad and disappointing that WWE would let him go. Now, if the reports are true that he was hard to work with backstage, I can understand for business purposes and I mean, having worked in the business, not necessarily on that level, and having to deal with people that are hard to work with, I understand why WWE would let him go if he was being a heartache. But I mean, from a fan perspective, it is very disappointing, especially being a very big Austin Aries fan. So it's disappointing that they let him go.
Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking is my word. Cling. And the reason why it was heartbreaking because you've hyped up this guy. You wanted him away. And here's the part that got me. You wanted him away from Impact Wrestling. You got him away from Impact Wrestling. You got him to NXT. You got him up to the main roster. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but has he even held the NXT title?
No, he didn't. And
he's never held the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah, not the Cruiserweight title after fighting for it for 3 times and never got a shot at the NXT title. Because, I mean, with him getting injured, I was okay for him to do Raw commentary and stuff, but, I mean, he should have went back to NXT, and like him and Bobby Roode, they used to be tag team. You had the Dirty Hills and Impact Wrestling, so to have those two fight for the NXT Championship would have been amazing.
Or even have them fight for the NXT tag team titles will really accentuate the whole heel character. Because one of the dream matches I picked, I would have already had on my marquee, DIY versus Aries and Roode. 2 generations of 2 worlds right there. You can have the smartness of a DIY, but have the smartness and the cunningness of Aries and Roode. That would have worked. And then if they were to lose the tag team titles, then you can really, really make it work. But yeah, it's heartbreaking for me because you wanted him away because he made one stop in Ring of Honor. And that was in Las Vegas. He made one stop in Ring of Honor right before he came to WWE. And that was just one stop. It's heartbreaking. That's all I can say. It's heartbreaking. You got him away from this place. And now all of a sudden you're putting him back out there for the free market to get. And then what? He gets hot again, and now all of a sudden you want to offer him back now? Come on.
Yeah, that does seem to be a problem sometimes.
Let's lighten up the mood a little bit.
Okay.
Breezango as a team is blank for SmackDown Live.
Ooh, I was going to say entertaining, but I mean, maybe I can still use the word entertaining for SmackDown Live.
Cling!
They had Breezango, I mean, for the longest time, have just squandered around in the mire or whatever, the ether.
Bristol Myers squid is what we call it.
Yeah, the mire, the ether of irrelevancy for the longest time.
Absolutely.
Then you've started putting them together, and you've done the whole Fashion Files, which has been probably one of the bright spots, if not the brightest spot in SmackDown Live for the last several weeks. We just, on SmackDown Live this week, we saw the X-Files kind of parodied the Fashion X-Files. And I mean, before that, you had the Walker Texas Ranger. I mean, they've done great skits.
You had the Miami Vice parody, and you had the Law and Order parody.
So, I mean, they have been a bright spot for SmackDown Live, and it's always good to see guys who don't have anything going on finally get some screen time. That's why I like the Miz Taraj with Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas being on it, because they really weren't doing anything. So, a lot of people may not like them being paired with the Miz, but, I mean, at least it gives them something to do. So, in this case, I love Fandango and Tyler Breeze. You had the dancing gimmick, and then you had the dude who was a model. So, I mean, to me, they kind of fit, and having them as a team, and then doing the Fashion Files, I love it. It's been some of the brightest spots, like I said, of SmackDown for the last several weeks. So, my word is entertaining.
My phrase is going to be breath of fresh air. Cling! And the reason why it's been a breath of fresh air because, repackaging them literally tells me that just for those two, WWE went back to late 1997, early 1998, when literally they had to fight for their lives. And what they did was some of the people that they had, they repackaged a lot of their opening match guys with the little talent that they had. They repackaged them. And what happened when they repackaged them? DX grew bigger. Stone Cold gotten bigger and greater. You repackaged The Rock from a nation follower to now one of the greatest mouths in wrestling history. But look at what happened there. You worked with some of the with the less that you have, you made your less mean more. And that's what happened with Breezango. They're a breath of fresh air. And then to pull off the janitor gimmick during a tag team match, to literally, they were getting the crap kicked out of them, and one of them literally changed their whole outfit and turned into a janitor with a modified condom on his head, and he ended up pinning the tag team champs, the Usos. Entertaining.
Yeah, very entertaining television.
Next.
Yeah, what we got next?
Ooh, this should be good. Oh, we're going to hit home with the next two.
Okay.
Both of them involve Raw and SmackDown.
Okay.
One, Raw and SmackDown leaving the USA Network for the WWE Network would be blank.
I don't want to say disaster because I don't really feel that way. I don't want to say bad business, so I'm trying to find the right word I want to fill in here. Unique.
Cling.
It would me saying unique, it would be different because as TV, a lot of people say TV is a dying medium because a lot of people nowadays don't view Raw and SmackDown on traditional TV. They don't sit down like we do 7 to 10 on Monday night or 7 to 9 on Tuesday night and watch
Central
Raw.
Time, that is.
Yeah, that's Central Time for us because we're in Central Time. And sit down and just watch Raw as it's happening live. A lot of people watch it DVR, Hulu. Some people just watch clips. So, I mean, and viewing Raw and SmackDown now has the viewing habits of people are just changed. So, I mean, it would be unique to make Raw and SmackDown, who have been a staple for TV for quite a long time, just a network exclusive show that you can watch on the network, would be something unique. Because television, I do feel, is going to be moving to where it is almost an on-demand type feel, to where it's not necessarily live. You just watch it whenever you want to watch it. If you want to watch it 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's fine. Or if you want to come in like 3:10 in the afternoon and watch it, I mean, you can watch it on your own time, or you can watch if they do a live stream, aim a live stream on the network. But it would be very unique if WWE did something like that, taking it away from just traditional media and moving to like their over-the-top service with the WWE Network. So I think that would be a very unique move.
It'll be financially troubled. Cling. And the reason why it'll be financially troubled because this is where sometimes you really have to put your sports helmet on and you have to put your business helmet on for this perspective. Yeah, I do agree with a lot of points that you made. No question about it. I agree with you. And I would have been on that point. I would have been on that line until I had a sit-down conversation with Santiago Cirillo, and both of us talked about the importance of cable television and local broadcast TV, and we both agreed that even though everything's shifting to the net, the money is still with television. WWE, the majority of WWE's big-time payroll comes from television. You can call it NBC Universal, which owns both NBC and the USA Network. WWE's network is controlled by JP Morgan Chase. Your financial deals, especially if wrestlers are being paid these high money, Ted Turner would tell you the same thing, especially as far as WCW is concerned. Jerry Jones, the big Jerry Jones, whose stadium you have been in, they will all tell you that without television, your product ain't going nowhere. So, and NFL tried this same concept with their NFL network. When the NFL network, it was supposed to be an all internet based deal. That deal did not work. That's why they need television. They showed why you need television. WWE Network is a perfect subpar a lot of times to signal people to watch Monday Night Raw and to watch SmackDown. But on the other hand, I will go back to your point. USA Network and your local deals can segue you into purchasing the WWE Network. So I would say it's a win-win, but to literally leave the USA Network or to leave television at all and go 100% internet, to me, that's financially trouble, and it will affect you a long time. Now, let's stick with the same situation. You know, it's been a long time. It's been literally since the year 2015 that WWE's ever reached this number. 20 million plus. Here's the blank space. Both Raw and SmackDown reaching 20 million plus viewers on the USA Network will be blank for WWE.
You're going to love this one. Well, actually, Mr. Levesque will love this one because it will be best for business.
Cling!
So, with 20 million viewers, just think about it. Think of it from an advertising perspective here. That's 20 million people that could potentially see the advertisers' products that you put on there that could potentially buy it. And if that's more money for the advertisers, that's more money they may invest in you with your ratings and stuff, and you can make your show even better, or you can make more money and pad your pockets a little bit more. So if they got 20 million on Raw or SmackDown, that would be best for business for WWE, and they could thrive again. And we, in turn, as the fans, could even benefit from a higher quality product being put out, or maybe either house shows upgrade
Absolutely.
their quality. It'd be best for business if it reached 20 million people.
At first I was gonna use two terms for this. I was gonna use refreshing, or I was gonna use Walking Dead-ish.
Oh, and I love that one.
But the term I'm going to use for this will be momentum shifter. Cling! And the reason why I'll be a momentum shifter, because 2015, that's why I said that may have been your best time, because you had the most balanced WrestleMania, which would be 31. And look what happened. Because of the heist of the century, because Brock Lesnar lost the title in the heist of the century, what happened the very next night in San Jose, California? The opening segment with Lesnar going nuts looking for a title shot and Rollins, that whole entire 3-hour Monday Night Raw garnered over close to 21 million viewers with a 5.68 television rating. No one else didn't even come close that week or that night. No one. And the second closest number that Raw has seen since that 5.68, that was 3.87, and that was the night Roman Reigns won the title same year. And that was against Sheamus with the help of Mr. McMahon at ringside. So, in my opinion, I say that was, it'll be a momentum shifter, because now you're really stepping up your game. Does Raw need to do whatever it needs to do to garner 20 million plus every single week? And that's Raw and SmackDown. We're not leaving SmackDown out of this equation here. Does both of them need it?
Yeah, most definitely. SmackDown getting it, I think at this point, it's even though it's live and stuff, I think it's so damaged from being a just Raw repeat show that even though you do have good wrestling, I don't foresee 20 million people watching it. But yeah, it would be good for business. It would shift the momentum.
I mean, I do agree with you. I say it only takes that one good episode. And that's the strangest thing about that night after Mania. Because normally the nights after Mania, their ratings even from Attitude Era and from the New Generation era, and even Ruthless Aggression era, their ratings weren't that good following Monday Night Raw. But how strange is it that after WrestleMania 31, you spike up close to 21 million viewers for that one Monday Night Raw in San Jose, California? That's the thing that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you want to shift the momentum on this one and go to your Fatal 3 count?
The Fatal 3 count. Ding, 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 ding. Well, my Fatal 3 count is focused on the question, is WWE the new WCW? We're seeing it in the Cruiserweight division. And and some people want to say, hey, why are you making this case? Let me go ahead and make the case for you. Cruiserweight division in WCW had guys that you had a shot at the Cruiserweight title. You made your Cruiserweight titles, your TV title, and your U.S. title all competitive. WWE's Cruiserweight division, you're only going after one title, that's the Cruiserweight title. You're not allowed to break past the Cruiserweight division. In WCW, the Cruiserweights could not make it past the heavyweights. They couldn't even break into the heavyweight division. That was the situation with Guerrero. That was the situation with Mysterio. Look at now in the WWE Cruiserweight division. The reinvented Cruiserweight division, which is now at 205 pounds, is a lot different than old school WWE's Cruiserweight division, which, bottom line, ended up having a little bit of competition with the Intercontinental Championship. That was then. This is now. Another case. Ted Turner, when Ted Turner had WWE on the ropes during the Monday Night War, Ted Turner not only had that winning streak, but his company had the most money than WWE. Some can argue that point. My argument would be, yeah, WCW had the money. That's why they were able to get all the quote-unquote jobbers and a lot of the main event talent away from WWE, and they ended up spending way more for talent than WWE did. WWE, during the Monday Night Wars, could never match the offer from Ted Turner or multiple offers. But look at the flip-flop situation here. WWE now can match any or all offers that Ring of Honor or Impact Wrestling and sometimes New Japan Pro Wrestling cannot match. Do you kind of see what the difference here is? Plus, furthermore, of this whole WWE being the new WCW, come on, it's most evident. Monday Night Raw started in the 1 hour time slot. Same with Monday Nitro. They both started in 1 hour time slots. WCW Monday Nitro went up 2 hours to 2 hours. What happened? WWE 1997 went up to 2 hours. Then they wanted extra time to make sure that they're the only one that they're the only program watchable. They upped it to 3 hours. What happened 5 years ago during Monday Night Raw? WWE's back on the USA Network, and 5 years ago, they decided to go 3 hours after Raw 1000. Do you kind of see a little comparison here? I do. It's no secret. Why is WWE being the new WCW all over again? Now that they don't have WCW or Ted Turner to worry about, now they're in the role of Ted Turner, as if to say, whatever offer ROH, Impact Wrestling, or all these other places offer, WWE can match it. And plus, WCW had way more programming than WWE did. including syndication. Now, look at what WWE is now. More programming, and a lot of times, all programming all in one week, making it more difficult for either Ring of Honor or Impact Wrestling to even get themselves one time slot. Is WWE the new WCW? You be the judge. My answer is yes.
Well, thank you for your Fatal 3 count. I guess that's all the show we have time for today. Obviously, you want to stay tuned all this week. We're going to continue to do stuff. We've got some great stuff. Good promoter, bad promoter is going to be coming up.
Oh, my goodness. That's the next episode. I'm fanning myself because of it. Woo.
Yeah. We got our top 5 moments that have happened this week, so you definitely want to stay tuned later on. And we're going to give our Battleground predictions, I think, to close out the week, to celebrate our 5-year anniversary for Battleground. So, I mean, we got a lot of great episodes still coming up, so you guys want to stay tuned to this podcast.
And if you are, and trust me, believe me when I tell you this, if you are a booking fan, if you are a fan that loves to go to the bank with your predictions, trust me, our Battleground predictions will not disappoint. It won't. Trust me, our predictions for Battleground won't suck. Good promoter, bad promoter, won't suck. And we're going to have a new game coming up. Oh, you're going to love it. But during the middle of our 5-year anniversary, aren't we going to be doing some PPWP awards?
Oh, yes. I mean, a lot of great stuff we got coming up with the PPWP awards. You'll kind of get our picks for maybe best match of the last year or 5 years. I mean, or maybe the best wrestler of the year or 5 years. Just you got to stay tuned and find out what we're going to do, so you don't want to miss it. Now, the way you can stay up to date with this is social media. There's my segue. So, Mr. Heineken, where can people find you?
You can find me on social media at Twitter, Chris Heineken, #1.
Number 1 on Twitter.
And Facebook.com/TheRealCornbread. Yep, Facebook.com/TheRealCornbread. The name is Christopher David Heineken. Got a lot of C's. It's Christopher David Heineken on Facebook. Also, if you like to see me in person or whatnot, MCW Wrestling in Osceola, Arkansas. Right? It's on 1098 West Kaiser Street. Hey, it's the hottest destination on Fridays. All you do is take I-55 north. Hey, get off at the Osceola exit. You just keep straight. Hey, we're inside the parking lot where the strip mall is and where Barnes Lumber is. 1098 West Kaiser Street, MCW Arena. You can't miss it. It's been the hottest place there since 1993. Hey, we're there every single Friday night, 8:15 start time for a live, great in-ring action. And speaking of that, Saturday nights, I'm in Hoxie, Arkansas. Out of Control Wrestling. We do syndicated television tapings there. Every single Saturday night, 7:05 start time. Doors open up at 6. Hey, if you ain't at Flatlanders, you ain't out of control. It's 609 Southeast Gibson Street in Hoxie, Arkansas. And we're right off of I-555, or if you're in Arkansas, the old highway would be Highway 63. So, hey, that's where you can find me at. Friday nights, Osceola, Arkansas, MCW. Saturday nights, Hoxie, Arkansas, OCW. But that's me. Where can they find Mr. Robert Red located?
Oh, well, you're going to love me. Obviously, Facebook as well. I'm
Facebook.
Robert Lee Red Jr. there. On Twitter, I am at Robert Red Jr. On Instagram, you want to see all my great photos and all my Woman Crush Wednesdays. I know doesn't relate, but
the new WCW.
The new WCW, if we want to relate that to wrestling, as Robert Lee Red Jr. And I've got YouTube to where you can listen to the past podcast, and I got a lot of great videos. Those hopefully that are coming out in the near future. Maybe you're going to start seeing some video episodes come out of the podcast. So, I mean, you definitely want to stay tuned there. It's youtube.com/user/G Robert Red. And you can check out these podcasts on Shout Engine. You can definitely give them a listen on there, and you can leave your comments and feedback on there, or for YouTube, and that's definitely, we want your feedback. So, I mean, feel free to leave it. But
and your answer ain't the wrong answer. Your feedback is very, very important. So if you get on social media, find us anywhere on social media and leave your feedback.
Okay, well, I think that's all the time we have for this time. You can catch us next time on the Power of Pro Wrestling podcast.
See ya!